You're muted. That's okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
5 years after COVID, you think we would all get this, Zoom thing down, but no, not today. I'd like to welcome everyone to this session. My name is Christy Nielsen, and I'm going to be taking you through using AI to analyze your data. So when I first started looking at this session, I came up with this title of GED Data Detective, and that's what you probably saw in the session description. And as I was working on it, I was like, I just cannot get behind this. So I changed the name to From Spreadsheets to Strategy Using AI to Transform GED Data. It's the same concepts, just a different name. So as I said, my name is Christy Nielsen. I am an ABE specialist up at Northwest Service Co-op. And 3 years ago, we moved out to Williston, North Dakota, where I started teaching part-time. And so I have the unique experience of being in two different states. And let me tell you, it's different. I'm going to pause right now and I'm going to shut off my video just because I have been having some bandwidth problems and I don't want that to interfere with our presentation today. So today's objectives. First, we're going to talk a little bit about why data matters. Then we're going to go over my AI data process. And then we're going to talk about taking that insight and turning it into action. So first of all, why data matters. Anyone who's worked with data knows this challenge. You have messy, overwhelming data. We've got old scores. You have too many tabs open. We have multiple test centers or multiple testing or prep sites. There's so much data, but so little clarity. We collect, but we rarely connect. The story is in there, but it's hidden. How many times have you sat there looking at those spreadsheets and you have no idea what to do with that data? AI helps us see patterns faster. That can lead to some great student impact. It can help you put students in appropriate classes. I've been using it quite a lot to identify boot camp candidates. It also leads to smarter outreach decisions. I am all about working smarter, not harder. Nobody has time to work hard. It also gives you some great re-engagement opportunities. I have actually had students who have not been in our classrooms for over 5 years come back and re-attend classes. The story is no longer hidden. It's ready to drive action. So we are going to take a moment and we are going to do a Menti. What is the first word or phrase that comes to mind when you hear AI? So go ahead, join us either using menti.com in the code, or you can scan that QR code and put in your answer. What's the first word or phrase that comes to mind when you hear AI? And we're going to pull up those. I see scary, Terminator, robot taking over, Chat GPT. Computer genie. That's great. Helpful. Good. I'm glad someone sees helpful. Shortcut. Scary seems to be our popular answer. While there are many AIs out there, Today, we're going to be talking primarily about ChatGPT just because that is the AI that I am familiar with and comfortable with. Helpful is becoming biggest. All right, about 10 more seconds to put in any last words you think of, and then we're going to continue on. Ooh, artificial. You guys, these are great answers. Valuable. Okay, so this robot here with the computer strapped right to the head, that's how I feel when I'm using my ChatGPT. I feel like it's amplifying my brain, right? Like I'm still in control, but I strap that computer straight to my head and it is just boosting everything I do. I like to think of AI as amplified insight. Okay? It's amplifying your insight. We want to use it as a tool. I know a lot of people think it's scary. I know it's talked about as a threat, robots are taking over, all of that. But we really want to think of it as a tool. It's not replacing teachers, it's supporting teachers, right? There's no way I could have done with my data, what I did without having the ChatGPT assistant. It speeds up routine analysis. And it helps us focus on interpretation, not just the data entry, right? So many times we get all that data entered, but we don't know what to do with it. How are we going to interpret it? How are we going to make that data meaningful? So we're going to take a look at the process that I used to use the AI to help me get through my data. The first thing you need to do is you need to export your data from GED Manager. Once you do that, you need to spend some time organizing and cleaning your data. Then you're going to analyze your data using your AI, whichever is your AI of choice. And then you're going to apply what you have discovered. So those are the 4 steps. So step 1, export. This is where you need to take some time and really be intentional about your data. What data do you need? You need to ask yourself what your end goal is and what data you're going to need to support it. Really spend some time thinking through that. You want to be clear and consistent. You know, if you're taking this set of data for these 5 students, but then this other data for these other students, you're not going to get consistent results, right? And it's going to take a couple tries to get it right. You're going to sit there and you're going to download what you think you need. And then you're going to realize, ooh, I actually need more than that, or I don't need some of this. So this is an example of the report I ran from my GED manager. I decided that I wanted to see all of our GED data going back to the start of 2014. So for my date range, I put January 1st of 2014, and then I put to the current date. I decided I specifically wanted to look at our not credentialed students, and I didn't care what test center or which one of our prep centers they came from. So I pulled the data for all of Northwest Service Co-op. And as you can see, that brought back 2,447 rows of data. 2,000 rows of data. How long do you think that would have taken me to go through if I would have sat and went through that by hand? There's no way. There's no way I could have got through all that data. Step 2, you need to organize and clean your data for clarity. So you're going to want to sort your data. You can sort it alphabetically, chronologically, by subject, however you want to sort it. I chose to sort the data alphabetically because I wanted the data to be grouped by student. Then you're going to go through and you're going to delete the irrelevant data. Okay. One of the things I deleted were students who had been credentialed through the adult diploma, right? GED doesn't know that, but I know that. So I went through and deleted all of those students because I didn't need to have their data. I didn't need to reach out for them, right? They were already credentialed, they had their adult diploma. I also deleted students who in the past had indicated that they were no longer interested. It doesn't make sense to reach out to someone if they don't want to actively work towards their adult diploma. I'm sorry, their GED. And then you want to scrub any personal or identifying data, right? I don't want to dump a bunch of stuff that's identifying into my chat GPT. The important thing here is to keep a key so that later when it tells me that student 37 would be a good candidate for something, I know who student 37 is. So what I did is I came up with one spreadsheet that was my original spreadsheet, and that was my key. And then I went through and got rid of all of the identifying information, and that's the spreadsheet that I uploaded into ChatGPT. And the tip is that clean data now saves hours later. It took me a solid week of working on organizing and cleaning this data and scrubbing all of the personal information. And the first time I uploaded it into ChatGPT, it took like 27 seconds to get it analyzed. So this is where the bulk of your time is in step number 2, but it really pays out later. So this is an example of what my spreadsheet looked like once I had organized it and cleaned it. You will see that I removed the student's name and I gave all of my students an ID. And how I did that was they got a number randomly assigned to them. And I guess it wasn't so random because it was whatever line of the spreadsheet their name first appeared on. So that's why I have student 2, and then I have student 4 and student 5 and student 15. So it was kind of random, but kind of intentional. And then I also decided that I did not want to have my test center listed. I felt like that was even identifying information. So I gave all of our test centers a random letter ID. So once you've done this legwork, the data can be analyzed in multiple ways. It's great. I don't have to do this every time I want to look at something. So step 3, we're going to analyze with our AI. So you need to be intentional with your prompt. Really think it through. Ask yourself what your end goal is and how the data needs to be analyzed to achieve it. Okay? If you're not good at prompting, really do some research on how to prompt an AI to get the information that you need. Advocate for what you need. If your AI isn't producing what you want, tell it. And don't be afraid to be bossy. I was working with one of our teachers, and she does not use AI. Okay, so she was like, Christy, can you please help me? I have no idea what to do. And I said, sure, let's do it. So her and I hopped on a Google Meet, and I was pulled up my chat GPT and she pulled up her chat GPT, and I put in a prompt and she was put in the exact same prompt. We were working on some social studies curriculum. And it was so surprising how different her result was based from my result. And she said, why? Why is yours so much different than mine? And I said, well, because I've now trained mine. So it knows exactly what I want. It knows the format I like. It knows the results I like. It knows what I want. But it didn't start out like that. My chat GPT started out like yours, where it didn't give me what I wanted. You just need to keep at it and keep going until you get what you want. Don't be afraid to be bossy. Don't be afraid to say, no, I don't want that. No, I need you to do this. Make it longer, make it harder. Whatever it is you need to do to get the result that you want, do that. And just realize, again, just like your data, it's going to take you a couple tries to get the prompt right. Okay? Don't worry if you don't get what you want right away. So, we're going to kind of walk through some of my prompts. So, my first try, I honestly didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't even know if this was a thing that would work. So I had that spreadsheet and I had it all scrubbed and I had it all cleaned and I had it all organized and I uploaded it up into my chat GPT. And as you can see, I have it clearly labeled GED data for chat GPT. So I knew that I wasn't going to accidentally give it my key, right? And I just said, analyze the attached spreadsheet of GED data. Look for trends, pass rates, etc. At that point, I didn't even know what I wanted it to analyze. So I just said, etc. Then I gave it some background knowledge on GED, talked about it's got 4 test subjects, talked about the passing scores, explained a little bit about the readies, gave it all the background. Okay. This is what I got. Gave me an overall GED pass rate across all individualized tests. Then look at that second bullet. Percentage of GED students who earned their GED, passed all 4 subjects, 0.62%. Very few students have passed all 4 subjects. Well, duh. The only data I gave it was people who were not credentialed. Of course, they hadn't passed all 4 subjects. That was an aha moment for me. Like, oh, yeah. I gave it data on students who hadn't passed all 4 subjects, but I didn't tell it that. My chat GPT thought, you guys really suck at your job, right? Like, you aren't getting anyone past all 4 GED subjects. However, it did give me some good GED ready practice test predictions. We had about 47% who are likely to pass, 39% who need more practice, or about 12% who are not likely to pass. Gives me some tables, tells me some other things. That was really eye-opening for me. And I went, aha, this actually can work. I just need to figure out how to make it work for me. So then I decided that I wanted to specifically look at students to put into our GED fast track classes. So we hold online fast track classes for each subject. And I wanted to identify students who I could put into those classes. So I needed my chat GPT to look at each subject and decide on students who were at a high enough level that they could take these fast track classes and feasibly pass the GED test at the end. So I asked it to create 4 separate tables, one for each subject, and asked it to make a column of each GED ready score range. Then based on that ready score, place them into the appropriate column, identify them by their ID. And if they had passed the official test, to disregard that score. Because obviously, if they've already passed math, they don't need to go into my math GED fast track class. Now, this result was much more helpful. This is my table for social studies. It plopped the students into the columns, letting me know who was not likely to pass, who needed more practice, and who was likely to pass. And then based on that, I was able to reach out to those students and let them know that we had these fast track classes available and see if they would be interested in joining them. Now on this one, I was looking for boot camp candidates. So we offer boot camps 3 times a year. And when we are looking for boot camp candidates, we're looking for students who have not passed any of the official tests. So we want them to have all 4 because we offer all 4. And we want them to be at a level where they could come in. How our boot camp works is you come in, you do a review for a subject for an hour and a half or so, and then you take the official test. Then we have lunch, you do the next subject, a review for an hour and a half, you take the test. You go home, you do it the next day for the last 2 subjects. So not only am I looking for students who haven't passed any of the official tests, I was also looking for students who were high enough to be able to go into a boot camp. So my chat GPT came back just a list of students who had not passed any of the GED subjects. So then from there, I was able to go in and manipulate some more. Because these are location specific, we offer them in person in one of our centers. And because Northwest Service Co-op covers a huge geographical area, I asked it to add an asterisk next to any student from test centers C, E, or WI. Those are the test centers that were closest to the location of our boot camp, and I felt it would be reasonable for students to drive to it. Once I did that, I honed in on the readiness to pass the official tests, because again, these are intense days, and if you're not ready to pass those tests, it doesn't make sense for me to put you into a boot camp. So this was the data I got once I put in that prompt. It took the student and it gave me how likely they were to pass each of the subjects. Now, based on this, I was able to reach out to students and I was able to say, hey, we have a boot camp coming up, and explain to them what it was and get them enrolled. So from insight to action. Data tells us a story, but it's only useful when we act on it. Again, you can have spreadsheets and spreadsheets and spreadsheets, but they don't do anything if they just sit on your computer. So the 4th step is to apply the insights that you have gained by analyzing it. You can use these insights to decide who's ready to re-engage, which subjects need targeted support. By doing this, I discovered that down in Park Rapids, almost all of their 3 of 4s need math. I'm sure that's not shocking to anyone on this call, but it really highlighted that it was a whole group in one specific test center. You can also use it to decide where to focus your next boot camp. And we did that. We moved our boot camp this year to Park Rapids. It's the first time we've had one there. One other thing that I've done is I have created a standard email that I use for outreach. So it's fairly generic. Sometimes I tweak it a little bit more, but it just gives our students the overview of what it is and what we do. And I really wanted to push the hook of Minnesota is offering the free GED, like they're going to help you pay for it. So I put that right in the subject, free GED help. Let's get you finished. We talk a little bit about, who I am, what I'm doing, and then we explain the options that we have. We have in-person classes. We have our online classes. We have boot camps. And then I have created a booking page through my Google Calendar where students can go on and they can click and they can schedule an appointment with me. That connects them right to me. I can get them re-enrolled in classes. I can update their assessments. I can do all of that with right through a Google Meet. that they schedule themselves for. It's been really slick and handy in getting students reconnected. So that gets put right in to my email. I put the link in and they're able to schedule themselves on my calendar.
Hey, Christy, this is
Yeah,
Rachel.
yeah,
We do have a question, so I guess we're at the right page now. But Sophia asked, Christy, would you be able or willing to share your prompts that you used to get the results that you did?
sure, I can. Can trying to think the easiest way to do that. Does she want to email me? Would that work?
Nope, she says she can.
Perfect. And then I just want to take some time for reflection and questions. And just to kind of have a talk. If this was in person, this would be the time that, we just chat and talk about it. So I kind of want this to be informal. I put some guiding questions up on the screen. Where could AI streamline your data process? How could these insights drive student action? And what data question will you investigate? Like, what kind of things have you always wanted to look into, but you didn't have the time? So feel free, go ahead. You can unmute yourself. I just really want this to be kind of a casual conversation.
I have a question.
Yes.
And you might have mentioned this earlier, but were you using ChatGPT or a different AI
I
analysis
use
tool?
chat. I use Chat GPT. It's just the one that I'm comfortable with, and because I use it so much and put so many prompts into it, I do have the paid version.
Mm-hmm.
I was hitting the limit all the time, so I did break down, and I now pay $20 a month to have the premium Chat GPT.
Mm. All right, thank you.
But I will say it's been worth it. Um, I use it for so much. I use it to create adult diploma final projects. I use it for different curriculum. I use it for a lot. So it's definitely been worth paying for it.
Great.
What other questions and thoughts do you guys have?
What else have you used this to analyze?
Okay, on a non-work related, my husband and I just bought a house and our backyard is a hot mess. You guys, it's bad. Like, it's so bad. And I have a son who's a senior this year, so I have to have a graduation party in my backyard in May. So my chat GPT and I went down a huge rabbit hole of grass seed. I don't know if anyone knows anything about grass seed, but it's a whole thing. There are so many different types and different varieties. And so we spent a whole heck of a lot of time creating the perfect custom grass seed blend for my backyard. And my husband absolutely has rolled his eyes at me. You know that there's this meme that's floating around that says, like, I only talk to 3 people a day, and one of them is Chat GPT. Like, that is so me. And I get called out all the time because that's what I do. Put up, there's my email address. I'm gonna sharing. Stop sharing. I'm gonna go into hold on, you guys. Since we have a little time and you asked the question, I'm gonna just pull out my chat GPT so you can see. Okay. Yeah, I just see in the chat, it's a tool. It's all about how you use it. Yes, it is such a tool. Okay. Uh, okay. Can you guys see my chat GPT now?
Yep.
We can see it.
Okay, perfect. So This is my chat GPT. I started doing projects. Jen Hellickson from Detroit Lakes actually told me about this. She's another chat GPT queen. You can group things by projects, which makes it so much easier to keep track of your stuff. So what I've really been using it for are these home projects. And you can see I have so much in here, but this is my lawn rehab that I was just telling you guys about. Give it a minute to load. There's a lot in there. So, I mean, it has analyzed how much straw I'm going to need to cover my grass seed. It's telling me all about that. Oh, also, did you know you can ask your chat GPT to what name it likes? My chat GPT is Rowan. Yeah, tells me all of this. I've used it for that. Um, I've used it. We just bought this house and I want to paint. So I've used it to give me color suggestions. I've took pictures of what the room looked like and asked it to put specific colors on the wall. So I've used it for that. I've used it I've used it for a lot. What else do you guys have questions about or want to discuss? Great wall color. Rachel, my husband hates it.
For real?
Yes.
Maybe because he's
He's,
jealous of your boyfriend, Chat BT.
yeah.
Rowan,
Rowan,
yeah.
yeah. No, he thinks there's nothing wrong with white. He's like, let's just leave everything white. And I said, no, absolutely not. He did make that comment though. He has called Rowan my boyfriend before because I literally am using it almost every day.
Well, I listen to news stuff on the Washington Post, and they have like, when they're reading, like their AI is reading their articles, it's read by Helen or Rebecca or yeah, and the AI tool that's named themselves, which I was like, oh, I just noticed that this week.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just taking a moment to scroll through the chat and see what else.
I had a question I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
There was an example that you shared about like being able to run and analyze reports using AI, ended up meaning that or created this option where like, oh, we're gonna hold a boot camp, a math boot camp here. Can you think of other specifics or things like that where there's been like action steps based on your findings, I guess?
What I've been using it mostly for is like student re-engagement. I've really been targeting students that, for whatever reason dropped off. And I mean, realistically, a lot of them are from that COVID time, right? They were really on track and then COVID hit and everything, fell apart, right? So I've been really using it to get students back into the classroom and I'm having really great success with that. We specifically moved one of our boot camps to a location because we discovered how many we have in that one location. What else have I done specifically? And just trying to get students in class. Those are the main things that I've had action steps for.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah. Oh, Carly, I've seen your comment that the sidebar keeps a record. Yeah, so you can go into your settings and you can ask it to save it. You can ask it not to. And then you can also tweak like how it communicates with you. What do you want it to call you? What kind of tone do you want it to have? There's a lot of personalization you can do. And the more that you work with it again, the more it does what you want. Anyone have anything else? If not, you guys are going to get out just a little bit early. Look at that. Rachel, you can't wait to play with it. I know, I use it for so much, you guys, all the time. Well, if nobody has anything else, then I guess we are finished early.
Yeah, Christy, thank you for presenting. You shared your
Yeah.
email address in the slides.
Yeah, I'll
And you
put it
can
in the chat
always
again
access
too.
her slides in the participant folder. But yeah, thanks everyone for being here. I'll go ahead and end the recording.